1 minute. I'm gonna move my camera over. Put that up here. So you can put this shit in full screen. Let's get right to it though. This is why Penta left AEW for WWE. I don't look these titles up. I just look on the home screen, whatever pops up.
Penta is officially in WWE. And while many people right now are asking themselves what could be next after his amazing and universally acclaimed debut against Chad Gable, a lot of people are also asking themselves, how in the hell did AEW lose one of their biggest stars? Penta at one point was an AEW original, someone who helped establish the company and its tag team division from the start, and now, just a couple of years later, he is in WWE. And while it's easy to point to one big thing as what did it for Penta, the reality is that changing tides in AEW, both creatively and from the standpoint of what the roster was, were the main culprits in what ended up leading Penta to look elsewhere and join WWE. When Penta joined AEW in 2019, he and his brother Rey Fenix were two of the cornerstones of that entire company. Penta himself had established himself long before this as both a singles and tag team act with his brothers as one half of the Lucha Bros. But even if you go back to his time in Lucha Underground when he was a singles competitor, this was someone who we all knew had the potential to be a guy and someone who could be a single star in any company. That's why when he joined AEW in 2019, it was such a big deal, because we knew that they were getting a versatile star who could not only wrestle with his brother in the tag team division and be part of one of the best tag teams out there, but also when the moment called for it, Penta could get heated up for any type of feud, whether it be a mid-card title or even a main event championship. And while we didn't get much of singles Penta throughout his run in AEW, we did get to see the heights that him and Rey Fenix had in one of the most epic tag team rivalries of all time between the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks, culminating in arguably one of the greatest tag team matches of all time at AEW All Out 2021, Steel Cage, Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. And it all seemed from that moment to be trending upwards for the Lucha Bros. However, that was the peak, and this tag team win was followed by a few months of up and down booking and injury to Rey Fenix that unfortunately kept him out and forced Penta into obscurity for a while in AEW. And while they had a little bit of heat upon Rey Fenix's return, they were never able to get back to that level. And one of the main reasons was because we had a lot more stars come into AEW right after then. Before the All Out match that they had with the Young Bucks, Bryan Danielson had not yet debuted. Adam Cole had not yet debuted. Ruby Soho had not yet debuted. You had so much more TV time for the likes of the Lucha Bros than you would have otherwise. But by the time that Rey Fenix came back into the picture, that wasn't the case. They had to be moved off of the priority list.
Let me show you why I stopped paying for all my other sample libraries. This is Arcade by Output. This thing has sounds, samples, instruments,
for other acts, and this also culminated in a time where AEW slowly but surely deprioritized the tag team division, so the need for a tag team like the Lucha Bros became less and less and less over time. You add in the oversaturation of championships on AEW, you add in the fact that Rey Fenix got injured, did a singles run, which led to Penta also being kind of sidelined. And in AEW, the Lucha Bros lost momentum. And it is one of those things where absence can make the heart grow fonder, but In this case, it didn't, because AEW never reminded you that the Lucha Bros were there. They would just kind of pop up randomly and then pop back out, and it became a running trend that they were kind of directionless. And the reality is that sometimes when you reach the peaks that the Lucha Bros did in AEW, you're just never going to get back to that level in that place. And I think this really was a case of AEW just moved in a direction that didn't involve the Lucha Bros, and they adapted accordingly. We had heard rumblings as early as summer of 2024 that Penta was talking about the idea of leaving AEW, that he was already headed to WWE. This, of course, was not true, as his contract had not run out that point, and this led to AEW eventually adding injury time, nearly a year, to Rey Fénix's contract, while Penta's deal expired in October. So Penta was on the way out. However, his brother now is stuck in AEW, at least for the next couple of months, with no real sign that the company is going to use him. And I think in part this is going to motivate both Penta and Rey Fénix whenever he does get out of his contract and eventually, you would think, signs with WWE. This is going to motivate them even more to prove the doubters wrong, and to prove that whether it's in WWE, AEW, or any wrestling company, they are two of the best performers out there. And if Penta's debut match against Chad Gable is any indication, that is still true. Penta proved that he can go out there, have a Penta-like match in a WWE ring, showed the fans what he's capable of, got over with an impassioned, heartfelt, and true to himself promo afterwards. And when you think about the possibilities that are before Penta in WWE, he now is open to a new world that was not afforded to him in AEW. WWE had Penta masks ready to go, a piece of merchandise that AEW was never able to capitalize on. And on top of that, WWE's promotion of Penta as one of the worst kept secrets in the world actually worked. So much so that they were able to quote unquote leak his merch going live on WWEshop.com just to drive up interest, because everyone at this point already knew that Penta was going to debut against Chad Gable. But the fact that they were able to leak it and build on that excitement and get the extra eyeballs and interest before the show helped make his debut probably more watched than it otherwise would have been. So you can tell WWE, from a merchandising standpoint, from a notoriety standpoint, and a promotion standpoint, understand what they have with Penta, and I don't think they're going to risk wasting him. So in short, while the journey to WWE may not have been the most ideal thing, and may not have been the route that either AEW or Penta wanted it to go, at the end of the day, it was just time to leave the territory. And Penta is definitely making the most of his opportunity in WWE. As far as how far he can go as a singles act, in the meantime, as he waits for Rey Fénix to come, I guess we'll see.
I think he's gonna do good. Like Ivar did. Ivar did good. Ivar was had the matches while Eric was out. He could have just been out doing nothing, but they had him doing something. So that was beautiful. That was really beautiful. AEW got a lot of mistakes. They better start